Next, we have wildfire smoke preparing and protecting tribal communities. We have Lucas Baird, Nicole Briggs, and Althea Godfrey with us today.
Hello, everyone. Yes, my name is Althea Godfrey, and I'm the burn ban lead for the Tribal Air Team in Region 10, and here presenting. Also filling in a bit for Erin McTighe, who you may know well, who was not able to be with us today for our presentation. She's quite ill. Of course, we send her our best wishes for health. So you can move to the next slide. So Lucas Baer, Spokane Tribal Air Program Manager, is here with us. Hi, Lucas. And Nicole Briggs is the EPA Region 10 atmospheric scientist who does the forecasting for us in the summer and is excellent at tracking the smoke plumes that come from outside and inside our region, and helping to alert tribes to the air quality issues they face. Next slide. So we hope at the end of this session, you'll be able to understand the roles that EPA plays with Northwest tribes in issuing burn bans and air quality advisories. We're doing that under the FAR, the Federal Air Rules for Indian Reservations. We will try to let you know how we can identify and how you can learn to identify where smoke and air quality data is, where the forecasts are coming from, and how to use them, and identify tools and strategies that help you and your community become smoke ready. Next slide. So wildfire smoke and health. We're going to just start off with some really brief overview of some of the most vulnerable people to wildfire smoke. And they're the same as we've been hearing over and over again: our children, our babies, elders, people with pre-existing conditions like asthma or heart conditions, and pregnant people. There are a lot of pollutants that you have to worry about in wildfire smoke, not just the particles, which we most often measure and we can see. So it's a complex problem. Next slide. Yeah, and research is showing that even more of these issues are starting to be recognized. Human health is affected by the particles in smoke, which can be very, very small, and then the other rise in ozone, which is also an irritant for people with lung issues as well. So many communities are also experiencing this at the same time as extreme heat events are occurring. So we have a really complex situation happening. Next slide. Complicating that, we have wildfire can contain particles from buildings, I would say, too, when it hits communities. So we have a lot of issues when we think about what wildfire smoke why we have concerns about wildfire smoke. It affects numerous body systems, and it's critical to support the most at risk. And we could say, we've already just touched on that, in trying to educate people in the community on how to reduce their exposure. Next slide. The physical effect is what I've just touched on, but there is a mental health effect as well. This is, of course, when a community experiences fire within it and loses homes and oftentimes community resources, but also just the smoke itself, when it's dense, creates a problem for a trauma that experiences effects after the event. And it's not just the outside air that we have to be careful about. We have to understand that this permeates and penetrates into our homes as well. Next slide. So what it means really is that we have to think about the guidance that we were working with before is not as good. That was stay inside and close your windows. But now we have to have more nuanced advice in order to really protect people and protect human health. All right. So here's our agenda. We're going to just talk a little bit about the 2021 wildfire season. I will cover that and some of the past burn bans as well, and the uses of burn bans and how they've been effective. We're going to have some smoke data and forecast information, forecasting tools that we use. There are opportunities for tribes to engage in educating communities and using the tools that we provide as well as others, and tips for reducing smoke exposures and community smoke, creating community smoke readiness. And then Lucas will talk about the program that he has run in Spokane. Next slide. Okay, that's my introduction. Fire and smoke on Northwest tribal lands and the FAR. Next slide. All right, so air pollution events will trigger protective efforts by the EPA and tribes with delegated authority, and burn bans will help maintain or to prevent air escalation of wildfire or say air pollution and particles. So I'm going to talk about the different events that we have, how the protocol works, all the little steps that we go through. It's quite inclusive, and the history of using burn bans, and then we'll touch on the summer of 2021. Next slide. So the FAR has been in place since 2005. The graphic below here shows that when we gained the ability to institute burn bans during a stagnation event, this was during a winter event, air quality was unhealthy. It went up to unhealthy for sensitive groups, and it will, under a burn ban, went back down into good air quality. And I think actually I realized that I was going to have some poll questions here, and maybe we can use that information right now. So can someone pull the poll up for us? There were 2 questions. So number 1 question, do you use the air quality index, the AQI, either personally or professionally? Just choose one or the other, yes or no, or I am unfamiliar with the AQI. Be nice to know where we are here.
Hey, Althea, I don't think this one's letting you choose unless it's just me.
Oh, yeah, so we don't have any,
Oh, never mind. It's just me. It's presenter. Never mind.
oh, okay. Okay. All right. 3 people.
I think, Althea, that people have to answer both questions before you end the poll.
Oh, okay. All right, I won't end that then. So number 2, have you used the EPA fire and smoke map? Yes or no? I think so. So we have 14, I think 17% have voted. Can we get some more folks in there? Please answer no. If you don't, it'd be good for us to know. Great, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see, some people are still answering. The air quality index or the fire and smoke map. Okay, I think we can end this poll then. Is that something I can do? I can. I'm learning how to use this. So out of those who answered, we have 64% have used the air quality index and 20% no, and 16% don't know about the air quality index. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. And again, the air EPA fire and smoke map, which is really in its infancy, it's pretty new, but it's great to see that we've got a number of people who are using that map, 36%. So thank you. Okay, I think I can turn that off there. Okay. So I talked about this. This is basically the federal air rules for Indian reservations is what allows the EPA and delegated tribes the authority to issue burn bans on open burning. And that's when the conditions are going to create unhealthy air for everyone. Okay, next slide. Great. So the photo below is in Southern Oregon, and it's of a very unhealthy air quality day. The Clean Air Act allows us to declare burn bans at much lower smoke concentrations. The particle thresholds for the air quality index are incorporated into the FAR, and when the air quality index approaches unhealthy for sensitive groups. Sensitive groups are those that we talked about earlier, elders, children, people with lung or heart conditions. When that expectation that the air quality will be unhealthy and will remain there for 24 hours, we can initiate a burn ban. And the protocol starts there. So next slide. All right, the first thing that happens is this protocol happens every day, whatever the air quality is. Every day I take a look at all the sensors and monitors and make sure that those are not approaching that threshold, which is 75% of the NACs, which is then preventing it to go into the unhealthy category, unhealthy for sensitive groups. We have in the winter a pilot project that also provides regional information for tribes that are all deciding about open burning, letting them know about ventilation. So that's happening during the winter season. But when air quality or wildfire is an issue, we also consult outside resources. State smoke coordination calls happen. Each state has its own coordination call. We participate often. Tribes who are also invited to this. National Weather Service provides information as well, but Nicole will be talking about how she looks at the information that she can get about air quality. If we think that there's going to be a problem with the air, we will contact the air staff at reservations. We'll also contact our own management and let them know that we might be needing and might be calling a burn ban. Next slide. So let's see. So the next step for that, and this is, I think this is, I can't remember, this might be Umatilla. This is a tribal air team has a conference call possibly, or we'll be using emails to discuss this with the tribes, the reservations that are affected. And a coordinated decision is made whether or not we want to issue a burn ban. So the next step is then to obtain approval. Can't just do this in willy-nilly. We have to have approval from managers. And at that time, we're also alerting the press team and tribes for the event that this is going to happen. The EPA press office also participates. They send out notices to the local media, social media. We also send information, same information to each state, and if relevant, to local air agencies as well. So that we're spreading the word as much as we can. We update our website, our FAR website, our hotline, and we have a notification list. Any tribe can join, and they would be on a list that would be notified when a burn ban is called in the region. Then the tribe has the opportunity to elevate their to the folks in their community and on the reservation. Okay, next slide. All right. So this is just an indication of how things have really changed from 2005 to 2019. We had 101 burn bans, 91 were for stagnant air conditions. So that's 90% basically of all of our burn bans to that point had been for air stagnation events. Yakima Reservation is one that is uniquely prone to these events due to their geography. But we had the most widespread event that we had during that time period affected 10 reservations. So most of these were single reservation calls. Next slide. So we had up to that point about 10 burn bans until 2005 to 2019, 10 burn bans, one lasting 21 days, but most even called for one reservation. That changed dramatically in 2020. We had only 5 days between August 21st to October 11th. That was the day of the last burn ban. We ended it only 5 days without a burn ban. 16 different wildfire smoke days, burn bans. 10 were over 10 days, and the longest was for 31 days. So a tribe was affected by poor air quality for 31 days. Next slide. And in 2001, that kind of scenario continued. This time it began even earlier. June 21st was the first burn ban called. We had 19 during that last summer. And for reservations east of the Cascades, and especially in southern Oregon and in southern Idaho, almost continual wildfire smoke. 9 reservations are hit. Most of all, those are again east of the Cascades, and one burn ban persisted for 60 consecutive days. I think that might be my last slide. Next slide. So.
Hi, I'm going to take over for a couple of slides from here. And I'm going to get a little bit more into the details on the process that we use for forecasting and the tools that we use. So next slide, please. So Althea talked a lot about how we at EPA assist the tribes with forecasting and discuss burn bans during the summer wildfire season. And I just wanted to show the locations at which we here at EPA Region 10 forecast. So each of these dots represents a tribe within our region, and the blue dots represent tribes that have delegation under the FAR. And so they typically do their own air quality forecasting and have their own process for air quality alerts and potentially burn bans. The red dots represent tribes that we provide air quality forecasts to. And it's quite a few across the state, across the 3 states. Although notably, many of the tribes that are geographically located in the western portions of Washington and Oregon are not as regularly impacted by wildfire smoke in the summers. Tribes in the eastern portions, eastern and central portions of Washington and Oregon and all of Idaho, including the Spokane tribe, as Lucas will talk about later on, are definitely heavily impacted by wildfire smoke. So next slide, please. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but I just want to say that I'm one of many, many air quality forecasters that work in the Western US during the summer wildfire season. And air quality forecasting is really complex. And a lot of it comes down to local conditions, like understanding the mountains and the valleys in the area that could have a lot of influence on the dispersion of fire smoke after a wildfire is initiated. I put together this slide because I just wanted to show the sheer amount of information that goes into an air quality forecast. Forecasters typically combine information on current air quality, which can be drawn from air quality monitors and satellite imagery, with models that predict both future weather patterns and the future dispersion of existing smoke from wildland fires. In addition, forecasters often use these in-depth reports that are provided by fire managers or folks who are called air resource advisors, who are people who are specifically deployed to a fire, either to manage the fire or to provide forecasts that are specific to that fire location. So all of this gets knit together into an air quality forecast, and that's how we predict what air quality may look like in the coming days. So next slide. In the next two slides, I'm going to highlight two tools that I think are particularly useful for both tribal air quality staff and any member of the public who may be interested in knowing more about air quality during the wildfire season. The first is actually not one tool, but it's a set of blogs. And I have the links here, and I can probably put them into the chat also, because I realize these links don't go through to folks just looking at this. But it's a set of blogs for our region that are maintained by state and Canadian agencies. And the authors of these blogs are typically air quality and meteorological forecasters, or public health officials, air quality communicators. And so the posts provide really up-to-date and detailed information on both the current and the future smoke exposures and associated health concerns. So typically the air quality is communicated in terms of the air quality index, which is what Althea was talking about earlier. And that categorizes air quality as good, moderate, unhealthy for sensitive groups, unhealthy for everybody, very unhealthy for everybody, and hazardous. And next slide, please. So the other tool that I'd like to highlight is the fire and smoke maps. This is one of the questions that was in the poll. This is a tool that EPA has collaborated with others to develop. And I'm showing pictures of it here on the right-hand side of the slide. You'll see the colors in the picture. Those colors are the air quality index. So green is good, and starting with orange is when you start to get into the orange and red and purple are the unhealthy and hazardous categories. So these data are updated every 3 to 15 minutes. So this map is always up to date on current conditions, and this goes across the entire United States. One of the best features of this map, at least in my opinion, is that it includes low-cost sensor data in addition to regulatory air monitor data. So low-cost sensors, for those who haven't seen them before, they're small air quality measurement devices that individuals, tribes, anybody really can purchase and install at any location. The issue with them is that they aren't as accurate as regulatory monitors, but the map that I'm showing you here applies a mathematical algorithm to the low-cost sensor data, and that improves the accuracy of the measurements. So the air quality index colors that are shown here are pretty accurate. This algorithm was developed based on data collected throughout the country, including during wildfire season, and many stakeholders, including tribes in the Pacific Northwest, provided input during development of this process. And so if you just look at the two pictures on this slide, the top versus the bottom, you can see that the top, which includes the low-cost sensor data, there's just so much more data that helps understand air quality across all of these regions that are hard hit by wildfires. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Althea. Next slide, please.
Oh, you're on mute, Althea.
Oh, and Althea, did you want to reopen the poll? And
yeah, that's what I was just saying. We need the poll questions right now. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you so much. All right, part 2. Number 1. Do households in your community typically have access to air filters or air cleaners? So that's a regional and a local issue, which is really helpful to understand. And number 2, let that go a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mansell.
Yeah. It's great. So, and number 2 is, which communication channels or venues work best in your community around health and environmental issues? And if we can, maybe I need to do this here. Yeah. Social media, medical, tribal leadership, postings, and booths, direct contact. All right, I think. Okay, I think we've got a good response here. We can end that poll. So it looks like, let's go back up here to number 1. So that's pretty well divided, that some communities do have. We've got seven communities out of the 23 that, yes, there are access to air filters. And of course, some of those might be on in the HVAC system itself, but air cleaners also, with some and not many, and no predominating. Yeah, so that's an issue we're going to address with some solutions that we have in our talk here. And then communication channels, looks like social media is a excellent choice, and we've got some things that we will be presenting that can be adapted and taken and used by tribes around the region. And I think all messages are really good. Looks like a powerful messaging around postings and tribal leadership. Medical, very good. So thank you for that. That'll be helpful. Let's share the result. Oh, I thought, all right. I think that's it. All right, are you prepared? Here we go. I'm using, and I'm presenting for Erin McTighe, so I'm going to be using some notes a little bit more, so make sure to get the information that she wanted to bring to you. The first part of this, the first main message here is to learn more about smoke, the health impacts, and who is most vulnerable to smoke exposure, and have those community members know that as well, right? Next slide. The next step would be learn how to check air quality. Nicole shared some of the information that you could get from the state with the blogs, but the EPA has these, the Smoke Sense, which is a phone app that you can use, Smoke Ready as a program, and then with the Air Quality Index, which you can get on your phone or through the internet. Yes, following Smoke Ready, it'll be 2022 on social media. We'll bring you up to date with information and options. Education, next slide. So let's see, setting up a clean air room at home, work or school. So the key here is that people need to know how to set up a clean room. And I pointed at this in my last section, is that we need nuanced information about how to protect people. We can't just close our doors and windows and keep our air clean. So what is a clean room anyway? It's a room that's big enough, it's comfy, the place can be closed off from the rest of the house and from outside, windows and doors are shut. It's a place that we might be able to keep cool, where the fans, air conditioning units, that you've already turned off the fresh air, and that you can filter the air in the room. And you can see here, we're going to be talking later about how to assemble this very low cost filtration with a box fan. There's a little girl who's pretty safe right now. Next slide. This is a brand new video that it's 5 minutes long, and it will describe how to set up a clean room, and it is available on YouTube and is certainly available to tribes to promote their clean air education. So next slide. All right. So a HEPA air filter is going to be able to eliminate or filter out most of the particles, almost all of the particles that are dangerous to human health, that are small enough to enter the bloodstream. Air filters of MERV 13 or higher, it's just a measurement that you can use for your HVAC system, or to add to a fan, and replacing fans, those when they're dirty, so that you can keep them working optimally. All of these things are aspects of keeping the air clean, and we've got the guidance on our website. Next slide. So there are a number of tribes that have produced their own tribes, and this is from Washington State. This is a 45-second video about how to make your own clean air fan, low cost, for the cost of a fan, and the cost of a 20 by 20 inch filter added to that fan. So there's one option here. Next slide. Colville Tribes has a 5-minute video, and this describes how to make also a filter fan with using 2 of those high filter, let's say high MERV filter, taped together with some cardboard, and that will eliminate, the air quality. That'll improve the air quality and reduce the particulates. She's also showing there a manufacturer's option of a clean air filter. Okay, so that's a 5-minute video available. Next slide. So here's a discussion that we have about reducing the cleaning air through these DIY air filters. There's research by EPA. It's not been really published yet, but it's very promising using these DIY filter fans. There's no significant safety risks, and the 2012 fan is an important aspect of that. You need a newer box fan to be used. And then the other key is to use the instructions, because it's important that we put the filters on correctly. That seems to be an issue. Those issues, to make sure that you're getting the best from this option, this DIY filter. I see a question, why do you need a newer box fan? It's so that the motor doesn't overheat. That's the danger, would be that the motor of the fan would overheat, and that can be an electrical problem and fire danger. Okay. Yes, it would be bad. All right, let's see, next slide. So here we have an indication. This is just some demonstration of the research that's in progress, and you can see in the blue line that when the fan is turned on, that the air quality improves, right? So it doesn't take very long. You can see that it's decreases rapidly and stays down there. When the air is turned off, it becomes a problem. So that's let's see, that's the, make sure that I have, and it's just say too that it's much more accessible to everyone cost-wise. And then we're going to show some ways that you can promote this in reservations, or how it has been promoted. Next slide. So the last step here is to make sure that you have everything that you need ahead of time. That's key, as these products often will go out of stock in stores when wildfire season ramps up. So we have that advice to buy these things in advance. Replacement filters, those 20-inch MERV 13 or better filters. Small stash of N95 masks, and those can have that little ventilation button there to allow for air to filter the air that you inhale and let the air that you exhale out. It's a more comfortable mask. Make sure that emergency supplies and go bags and communication plans for the families are in place before fire season. Next slide. There is an EPA site on COVID-19 and wildfires, so if that's an issue that you can look at the guidance in order to keep everyone safe. Again, it's maintaining people's health, and doing that in the best way possible. That information is available. Next slide. And this is maybe good advice at any time indoors: no smoking, pipes, cigarettes, cigars, all of that. No spraying in these events, especially no spraying of aerosol products, especially, it's getting stuffy in here. That's not a good solution. Cooking will increase particulates, obviously candles, incense, and vacuuming, unless it's a HEPA filter vacuum. But using gas and wood burning stove is probably a lot less important during wildfire season, but it is an element of particulates indoors. All right, next slide. This is just a snapshot of our Smoke Ready toolbox. This is available on our website and can be used in order to help guide and produce, give some resources. Wildfire, smoke, and COVID-19. Again, resources are linked there as well. You'll see the Air Now map and the fire and smoke map also are there. Next slide. Here's some Tulalip tribes and their Tribal Healthy Homes Network had an event where they gave away the filters, and highly successful. And that was partnered with their clinic. Again, we've seen that social media is a really good place to send these messages out. All the messages that we have here that we've shown and will show, these are available to you, and you can just contact the EPA for access to any of these, and we'd be happy to help you. But outreach events have been happening all over the region. Okay, next slide. This is the Healthy Homes seasonal guide. And so this is the Tribal Healthy Homes Network production, but you can get that available. Contact us again for that. Next slide. Some more examples of outreach channels that we've talked about: the clinics and medical facilities, tribal housing, tabling at events, just bringing it up during any inspections or any other giveaways that happen, during community events, tabling, health fairs, all of those bring things to people's attention, including and how to bring things, especially to the vulnerable, the elder meal delivery, or at the WIC office, and student meals. So a lot of options for outreach. You can use the methods that are best for your tribe. Next slide. And this is from Nez Perce. Thank you for this ability to share this, translating into native language. Next slide. And here are the EPA's Air Flag, the flag program. Green flag means it's a good air quality and it matches up with the air quality index colors. Yellow is moderate, orange is unhealthy for sensitive groups, and then it gets darker red as the air quality decreases. Next slide. EPA also has on website the protecting buildings occupants from smoke during wildfire. This is again, this is for larger facilities. So this is available. Next slide. And we have a program where you can borrow sensors including ones that you can use indoors to measure particulates. There are 2 programs, they're both listed here, and you can contact us to find out more about that. Next slide. That's Spook Hands. So I believe it's, and let me know if we need to list more of these websites in our chat, because it was my impression that this was shared, the slideshow is shared with everyone. And so websites can be available through the PowerPoint. Okay, and so Lucas.
Hey. Hello, my name is Lucas Bear. I'm with the Spokane Tribe, and I'm the Air Quality Program Manager here. This is just a picture, the old picture of Cayuse Mountain. It's a famous mountain on our res. It actually got burned over in 2015, but I like using that one. Next slide, please. So we've already heard a bunch already. This is just the various methods of distribution of information, and how I did it over the summer, pre-fire season, and then during, of course, the emergency season, such as during the emergency season, setting up an outreach venue at our local trading post, which gets the majority of people during the day for our community. There's 3 communities on the reservation, but the trading post in Welpinit is our main kind of hub for lunch and everything. So the most information gets out right there, besides our social media, through the Rawhide Press, which is our local paper, and of course our tribal listserv, which but I try to get PSAs out, public service announcements for the wildfire season, which I'll show in a few slides, for just danger information or preemptive information for like prescribed burns and things, and I'll show that. Next slide, please. This is just an example of my, which one was this one? Fire tools, air fire tools. I'll use that to show potentially where the smoke is coming from. People like to know where the smoke is coming from, even if I know the source. I'll definitely tell people. If it's regional and it's nowhere near me, it's a lot harder to tell people where it's coming from in a broad sense. But if it's local, they like to know what's impacting them. And so I'll use the fire air tools assemble trajectories, which allows you to, the darker colors are near ground, and then the upper ones are higher. And that's a nice tool. People like that one. Next, please. This is one of my examples of my PSAs. I'll use the various colors and everything to highlight the forecasting, the conditions that are happening right at that time. I'll have a base tool for model for this, so I can move the arrow on where unhealthy, very unhealthy, things like that. And then I'll use the die option to change the forecast, like say forecast tomorrow and stuff, to let people see what's happening early in the morning, midday, at the end, just for a quick reference. Next slide, please. This is kind of more examples of my PSAs that I send out, and as well as my video at the top right there that I did, the do-it-yourself box fan. I like using the triangle method just to relieve some pressure on the, from what I heard, I don't know exactly, the science isn't there, but it's supposed to reduce the amount of stress on the motor by using by taking it off the actual fan in the back. So I like using that method instead. And I sent that out through the Rawhide Press and in my own personal Facebook and through the DNR. And I got probably around 3,000 plus, 3,000 to 4,000 views on the video in total. So that was very helpful for me. Next slide, please. This is an example of my PSA I send out for preemptive. So this one's actually for our prescribed burn program. And it highlights the areas on where they're planning to be during that prescribed season and our fields program. And that helps people know, okay, this is going to be happening, so that they might get smoke. We're trying to do it on good days, of course, but there's always going to be the possibility that wind shifts and it is unexpected and it impacts some homes and everything. But so people like to know what's happening. Next slide, please. Here's me in my outreach. I don't know if we had access. I know we gave you the video. I don't know if you have access to it on me doing the air purifier. Are you able to bring that up? Oh, yep. Yeah. Okay, so this is how to do a box fan. You have to buy a standard 20 by 20 box fan, and all you do is you kind of you get the HEPA filters, or depending on where you're at, there's MERV 13, which is the same. Lowe's, I don't have the actual number. These are MERV 13s. I either got them I think I got them at Home Depot. Lowe's will have a different model, but they're all basically the same. You just get a higher rating. Make sure that the arrows, when you do this, are pointing in. So the air is going to go into the filter and then out the fan. If you do not do that, you'll burn. There's a chance the filter's not doing anything. And all you do is, the easiest way to do it is to put a strip of tape along the edge, put your filter against it and tape it. Do the other side, close them up. You could tape the tops. You actually don't want a super tight seal because the fan works hard, so leaving extra room is actually better. Take a cardboard box. You get to use the fan box or whatever you have, and then just tape that up. And then medium or low setting only on these. Don't go into high. You make the fan work harder and actually pull more than the filters are rated, so you actually don't clean as much. And that's all you have to do. And just make sure, do not sleep with it when it's running, and just have someone home with it, because it's not rated for this, and that's just a warning disclaimer. Otherwise, it does a great job, and people have been building these, and they're very effective. A lot cheaper than a regular air purifier. Yeah, so that's it. So when I built that, we got hit unexpectedly with a smoke storm because a fire had started in the middle of the night. So it hit us, and I had my house settings, my air was blowing straight into the house from outside. So by the time we woke up, we were very higher hazardous. So I had built that, and I didn't have any other purifiers. It took all day, but I eventually moved that in front of our actual big air intake for the central air. And so it was blowing clean air directly into it. And eventually I used the indoor air quality monitor called a TELS, and it came down throughout the day. And eventually we got to green levels. It took all the day, but you felt it, and it worked pretty dang good. Next slide, please. And so just some feedback. I had a couple people get back to me saying like the do-it-yourself fan cleaner really helped clean up my home's air. Felt a lot better. Thanks for posting the video, and a handful of comments like that were really felt nice, and I was thankful that they were getting their families taken care of, getting the air clean and everything. Success. I had some. Feedback. So of course, positive from the videos. I didn't have any negatives on the videos, just some questions on how to clarification questions. And negatives, mostly for me, it was at that point, COVID was going on for a while, so no one really wanted to deal with the heavy N95 masks. And of course, they were hard to get. And so I had to tell people that their regular cloth masks and stuff that they were making that was popular to do at the beginning of COVID, that wasn't going to be helpful. It'd capture some of the really big stuff, which might help you a little bit, but not the worst of it that's making your lungs hurt. And yeah, and then of course the senior program. I run a lot of my outreach through the main senior building that we have, and they distribute it to most of the seniors out and about that can't make it. And yeah, that's my.
Is there another? Oh, yeah, is there another
there is a
slide?
thank you slide. You can go next one. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for attending and for your questions. If there is anything else, I don't know if we have time, but
Couple minutes, it looks like.
yay. All right. I saw, Michelle, that you built those filters yourselves and made a big difference. I saw that comment.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's I went from hazardous to green in like half a day or something like that. It took quite a while, but we sealed everything up after that to change the settings on the air intake for the house, and eventually got it cleaned up and everything. But if I had to go out and get an air purifier at that point, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So that I had the on hand already, but.
Right. Yeah, and that's why the clean room can sometimes be effective. If you have a large room, then you can, it's a smaller space, and that air in that space is going to get cleaner quicker. But that's if that's a possibility for a home. Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask Lucas, since we don't see any questions in the chat, I was going to ask Lucas, was there any difficulty, or have you had difficulty any years in accessing the MERV 13 filters that you need to build your fan?
Not really. If one place is out, you can go to another, and usually they have something. Like I know Lowe's uses Filtrates. You have to use a high, like I think like 1800 or something like that, 17, which is equivalent to MERV. The other stores use a different setting, but they'll all have like a little smoke symbol that you want to look for, and that's the easiest method to know that it's going to capture smoke. Get some comments in the
Okay. Yeah.
Make sure to put your a filter in your mother-in-laws when they're visiting, so it's gotta keep them happy,
Yeah, there are funding resources you look to support your programs, like the DIY class. I think, did you use your AIR program?
Yeah, the 103, you can use it for that. I don't have any specific funds beyond that to use that, but the 103, the basic air grants will cover stuff, things like that.
And the sensor loan programs are run without a cost, so that's something that you can participate in, at least there, begin. Look into the fundings that are available. Then contact the project officer for your tribe to find out more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think this is our last minute for whoever's.
Thanks everybody for being here and participating, and good luck. I hope we have a gentle summer despite the lack of rain that we've had. I hope it's a gentle summer without any wildfires. Be safe, everyone. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.